make a move and the bunny gets it.
I said, put the bunny back in the box. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
It's showtime.
Roar. Roar.
Colonel Ironsides here. 200 years I stood in the gap, fighting those who would harm my country. It was my honor, my sacred duty, so help me God. 9 times they took my life. 9 times I stood back up and made them pay. The freedom fighter I could handle anything, but someone betrayed me. I was ambushed, made mortal, rendered powerless, and retired. They passed an amendment and made me a civilian before I left the hospital. For 50 years I watched my country change. Watched its work while erasing me from history. The day I quit my job, I powered up and discovered they lied about that too. I'll remind them of freedom. I'll remind them of duty. I'll remind them of their oaths and who they serve. I'll remind them while I'm shoving it down their throats.
Psychically, I'm very well endowed.
I wanna know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I wanna know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
Hey there, this is Cooper and Telepathic Bunny Comics. Welcome to the Rabbit Hole. Hoping to get a little participation tonight, maybe a panel up, but doesn't look like we have anybody so far. Fingers crossed, maybe they'll change. But if anybody wants to come in from the chat, I do have this caveat. Yeah, that means that I choose who comes on to the show. If I don't think this is somebody that's going to have an opinion that's going to be beneficial, then I won't bring them on. So that's for anybody that wants to come on the show and cause trouble. And I know who those are, and they won't be on the show. But anybody else who has an opinion and wants to talk about this subject, you are welcome to come on. I usually don't run the live chat, because of the, shall we say, bad actors that have showed up from time to time. But today I just this subject's so vast and so broad, and I think everybody has a different idea about how things are going to proceed starting next year. And what we do have is precedent. We do know that back in 2017, after the aforementioned Orange Man took over, he changed quite a few policies just first day. Oh my gosh! I might have another opinion on here. Welcome to the show, Mr. John's Longbox. Well, did it pop? Did it come on?
I think the president is a shape-shifting lizard, and all the world's problems should be just outsourced to Jupiter. And I think we should all live in the hollow earth. How is that for bad acting?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Maybe I should kick you anyway.
Well, I'm only stopping by for a second. I just saw that you went live.
Oh, okay.
I apologize.
Well, thank
I don't
you
even
for
know.
bringing your beard.
What is the topic?
The beard. It looks looking good, man.
Okay.
Talking about riding the wave next year. I expect everything to turn around economically, and people are going to have more dollars to spend, and they're going to be looking for new places to put that money since the mainstream
I'm almost
sucks.
ready to launch. I'm almost ready to launch my second issue of my comic, but I'm going to hold off for another month or two. You know.
Yep.
You know.
I'm
going to get better. I mean, I went 4 years without overtime on this job. The previous administration, I was turning down overtime. I was too tired to work anymore. But my union was calling in for travelers, meaning people from other jurisdictions to cover spots. But nobody seems to remember that. People were complaining because
right. Well, I mean, it's like they buried Scott. I mean, you know, everybody just wants to talk about that last year when
I just want to
that
know
exception to every rule. You know,
how can you pardon somebody who hasn't been convicted of a crime? I thought we were all. You can't pardon an innocent man, right?
He has been convicted.
Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. So how can you be pardoned if you're already innocent? So I really think.
Well, I think when he's.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cooper. I think that he should be. This should be challenged. He should be taken to court and then convicted. And the pardons don't matter because. Am I going to get pardoned? Oh, John, here's your pardon for any crimes you may. I don't know what crimes you may have committed. Here's a note from Daddy. I find this to be a very egregious use of like kingly power. So I think this should be challenged. It should be because what's to stop every president from like ordering hits and stuff like that and just saying, Cooper, he may be pardoned for anything he may or may not have done. You know what I mean? Right. This is ripe for abuse, and I know people said that Nixon was pardoned. I didn't know that. I thought Nixon was convicted of something and then pardoned. But if that's the case,
no, he was never convicted of anything.
That was before my interest in politics.
Well,
so I
he
think
was never convicted of anything.
And I blame the Democrats for not challenging that. You know what I mean? So I think this should be challenged. But I'm gonna go. Pizza's coming. Guests are coming. We're gonna play games. I just wanted to stop and say. Oh, and your package was your package delivered today? I said
I haven't looked. I don't think so.
Okay, let me know because I've been having trouble with the post office. I asked them for free boxes and they sent me the wrong boxes. And some of them are getting delivered and some of them are getting returned. So there you go. Bye everybody.
Okay, no problem. Bye, John. Stop by and take my stream with politics, and then he heads off and get his pizza and his D&D on. Anyway, maybe I should have kept him anyway. But yeah, it's a good point. He's talking about having so much overtime during the previous administration that they were having to call in travelers, people from other like districts, outside of the one that he was in. I think the way that unions are set up, they have like districts that unions over this district, unions over this district, and yeah, back when Trump was in charge, I remember entire years we went by and we were just overtime to the gills the whole entire year, and not so much the last 4 years, not so much. My internet, 4 years ago was really good, and then I've had issues ever since, and I don't know what that has to do with maybe just the infrastructure thing, but I know that for a fact. But one thing that we do know, okay, is when the energy policy gets turned around, the border gets shut up, and the tariffs start protecting American goods, the economy starts getting room to breathe and it starts ramping up. And this is just part of this. This happened in 2017, and he's planning on doing it again this year. And I mean, when he comes into office, and if there's a world left, if they're not destroying it on the way out the door, which seems like they're determined to. But the thing about it is I think we're on the cusp of a big shift in our direction. The reason I say that is because the mainstream has yet to make the changes necessary to turn things around. And I'm not seeing a willingness to do so. And so I've got to go off of that and think that it's a good possibility that we're going to be sitting here when people get tired of the subpar junk that they've been getting and start looking for alternatives. And this has happened before. It's happened before in pop culture, back in the late 50s through the 60s, And one example is a young man named Little Richard did a song called Tutti Frutti. And nobody said anything like him. He was flamboyant. He was, sang with this high tenor lilt, and he was like standing up. He was a fireball before the killer ever showed up. And but what they did was they took that song and they gave it to Pat Boone. And Pat Boone managed to do his usual thing and wring all the interest, all the excitement, all the sexiness out of it. And and he went up the charts with it like he did most of his songs. But most of his songs turned out to be from black artists. And so he was offering a milk toast version of it. And so when people were like getting this watered down, boring version of the song, and they're like, is there a better version of the song? Because I kept saying, hey, who's this Little Richard? They keep saying it's a Little Richard cover. Let me find this Little Richard. And because, the mainstream pablum was so boring and so lifeless, they went looking for the independent artist behind it, and that was Little Richard. And so the reason why some of these black artists started really coming on is because white radio, or at least white-led radio, was so completely, totally neutered at that time that Chuck Berry coming in doing the duck walk across the stage singing about Johnny Be Good, there was nothing like that in the mainstream. And so they were pursuing, they were pursuing the real deal. They were pursuing the pure art. They were pursuing the originals, and they were looking for something genuine. And eventually, the white artists started picking it up overseas in England and started making a version of that. And then they came back into the United States in the form of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and several other groups and British invasion. And it's like they took what America was ignoring and throwing away, and they honored it and did a version of it. And then they came back to America, and it's like a white version of all these black artists, and it was more acceptable to the mainstream, and women lost their minds. And about 1,000,000 rock bands were just launched. Some of them just seeing the reaction of the women and like, oh, I want that. But it's happened before. It's happened, and the mainstream, that's when the mainstream gets worn out, boring, tedious, predictable, which it is right now. They start looking elsewhere. Okay. And it only happens, when this happened, this was back in the 50s, going into the 60s. The greatest generation came back from war. And then the industry kicked into high gear because it was all geared for war. And so it switched over, and then they started producing like you wouldn't believe. People were buying houses, people were settling in, and the young people had an entertainment dollar, given to them by their parents. And there's money to spend because the economy was improving. And it got to where, well, what happened was within a generation, the hippies showed up and kind of ruined everything. But still are. But baby boomers, yep. Hello, Kate. Hello, sweetheart. Good to see you, dear. Happy to see you. So what we're looking at is we're on the cusp of a pop culture revolution. Okay. We're on the cusp of everything shifting, everything changing. If you don't feel that on the wind, I don't know. You might need to get out of the shadows, because if you're anywhere where you can catch the wind, you're gonna feel it. If you didn't see that electoral result and say, "Wow, something might be changing." Hold on a second. You mean the CLA showed up? CLA. I'm not sure what that is, Kate. I'm sorry. I think you might have missed the letter there or something. But CIA, maybe. That might be CIA. I don't know. Anyway, so essentially what happens is what was like in the shadows, what was like in on the local level, what was like quietly developing in the mainstream. Secret code, yes. Okay. Not really what we're talking about, but okay. Anyway. But so as economics improve and the young people and other people are going to get an entertainment dollar that they're going to want to spend, and they're going to be looking at this mainstream, what the mainstream is offering right now. The out of touch, clueless mainstream who is still trying to give us stuff from 20, 30 years ago. No problem, Kate. No problem, dear. It's fine. Just happy to have someone to talk to me. But so we're on the cusp of it. We're right on the edge of it. Okay. The waves are starting to gather. And we're starting to see, with this whole Doge thing where they're going to come in and just carve out a lot of the really stupid stuff that's been corroding our government and keeping us, our tax money, from being the powerful force that it should be. And giving money to people that really have no business getting money from us. And if that starts going back into the economy, the more governmental apparatus is shrunk, the more the private apparatus expands and grows. And we're about to see, according to pretty much every economic person that I trust, not the Dave Ramsey, not that guy, what's his name from MSNBC. If that dude tells you something, it's the opposite. But people like Dave Ramsey, who I listen to from time to time, he's saying that he thinks we're right on the cusp of a economic boom, pretty much the likes that we haven't seen since the early 80s, maybe. And we had to go through a few bad administrations, the Nadir being the Carter administration, where everything was screwed up, everything was like overdone, and redundancy had entered into our government, and it just yep, economic boom, yep. That's what I'm talking about. JFL. I'm not sure what JFL means, man. But yeah, hello from Devon, England. Hey, Sandy. Good to see you. Good to see you. But yeah, but everybody that I trust is saying that things are about to really shift. Another bailout, first 1.5 years plus cleanup. We are headed for another Great Depression. Okay, no big deal. I don't know who you're listening to, but I'm not listening to the same people. So, if there is a wave coming, that's what this conversation is about. If there is a wave coming, which I believe there is, I believe that, as independents, we're right here in the catbird seat. Those of us who already have projects ready to go, those of us who have things in the pike that are ready to be introduced in the next year or so. Those of us who have a plan in place to market this stuff and are ready to go, then I think that we have a really good shot at just absolutely changing everything. And I can't really point to specifics, okay? Nobody can. That's why it's called forecasting, But when 2017 came around, we were all sitting here like, okay, we just elected a businessman, a reality TV star, to be president. What the hell did we do? And we just knew he was better than, the psychopath that was the other side was running. Oh, man, I still wake up at night thinking, what happened if she ever became president? Oh my God. I think there'd be more than 56, or it might be over 100 by now. Anyway, but so we elected this guy. And nobody really, I don't think anybody had any real idea to what we were in for. Then suddenly, all these harebrained ideas that he came in with started working. And then next thing you know, the economy just took off like a shot. Okay. And, it's not been that long ago. It's not been that long ago. I mean, it was just 4 long years ago. And it just absolutely took off. And at that time, crowdfunding, some people that if I told you the names, you know them, and I don't want to say too many names. You speak of the devil, they shall appear. But those guys started making like a 6-figure and even 7-figure campaign in one case, and these comics really started taking off, and nobody's were making 5 figures, and things started just like really really moving, and especially in the space that I kind of occupy in the independent comic space, and things just like really took off and really started moving, and greed came into it, and there's factions, and there's backbiting, and there's the backstabbing. Kind of ruined the momentum after a while. But then the last 4 years happened, and it kind of dwindled to where a very small group of people were still getting numbers, but everybody else was kind of being shut out. But that's about to change again. Okay, it's about to change. And so, are we ready? Are we ready? Well, I've been trying to kind of come up with some ideas today. Trying to think of ways that we could catch this wave and ride it. Okay. First of all, marketing. Okay. Now, the old model that was used to be successful, I love 8 years ago, when the first thing took off was people built these channels. They built YouTube channels and wound up with about several hundred, several thousand, in some cases 100,000, and off of that, when they put their books out, they would get 50,000 the first hour, it just like took off, right? But since then, there's been a glut of people who are making channels. Mine's 4 years old, thereabouts. I might have made mine a little bit too late, but there's so many of these channels that are out there right now. I mean, I counted, right now streaming on top of me, it's probably about 5 or 6 that I can name you off the top of my head. So it's a crowded space. So that's not really the marketing place anymore. Not like it was, but online marketing, several websites, X has really taken off. You get pretty much the most eyes on X. You won't have to worry about the bans that you'll get other websites. I've tried Truth Social. There's really not much of a presence on Truth Social. That's mostly politics over there. I've tried Instagram, and Instagram is just basically art oriented. And if you're an artist, that would be a good place to market Instagram. Facebook, I don't suggest to anybody unless Zuckerberg takes his head out of his ass and starts releasing some of this crazy censorship they got over there, and lets things grow organically again. If that starts happening, then Facebook might become a place to go. Right now, with the censorship over there, I wouldn't suggest it. I wouldn't suggest Instagram or Threads. They're all part of the same 3-headed monster. And I don't know how much censorship's on this Instagram. I don't know, not over there a lot. There seems to be some pretty racy stuff on there when I scroll through. But I'm sure there's a lot of content moderation over there. They've got huge corporations moderating their content. So I don't really know. I mean, other apps out there. Parlor, I've heard Parlor's back, and they say it's doing pretty decent. I haven't been on it. I don't know how active it is, our community, but that's really the only other one that's legitimately big enough for you to get any kind of presence on. Blue Sky, no. Anyway, Blue Sky is where all the crazy Twitter files and ex-Tinder people went. I've heard it's just a disaster over there right now. So I don't know that for a fact, but multiple people, Clownfish TV says that they've gone over there and taken a look, and it said they didn't scroll more than a minute and they started seeing PDF file and material. I'll just say that much. Anyway, so evidently the maps are all over there. So yeah, I wouldn't suggest Blue Sky. But yeah. I'm not sure what you mean by that, dear. Anyway. Sorry, I'm slow today. You have to forgive me. But yeah, so the social media thing. I do think you need a social media plan. X seems to be the best platform to do that. Doing promo threads, actual promotion, and there's several people that run promo threads that you can just put your campaign on and show that off. Having a good trailer, I think, is important. And I highly suggest my friend Mr. Good Stuff Comics Gator used to be. Now he's just Good Stuff. I would highly suggest him. He did my trailer I played earlier. But having a trailer will have more of an impact than just the static images, especially a good one with a narration and kind of like tell you what the book's about. But so I highly suggest, even if it's a book trailer, if you're just putting out a book, I would try to invest in a trailer. I think everybody needs a trailer these days. So that's a big suggestion for me. Granted, I'm not as big as a lot of these guys are, and I wish some of them would come on and kind of giving you advice. You just have to take what I say with a grain of salt. But honestly, but yeah. So first of all, get you a social media presence, social media plan. And I suggest doing it on X, but at social media of your choice. But you really need to, you need not to be censored, and you need to have a active community. X has both of those. I don't know anybody else that does. Thirdly, get yourself a trailer. All right, get yourself a trailer, and I highly suggest that. And just make sure that you got one with a narrative. Make sure that it gives you, if it doesn't have a narrative, it gives you the idea of the book or the atmosphere of the book. This is very important. And invest a little money in that. Get a good one. As if you just throw together a clip art and with no animations and just words in between, it's not going to be very effective. So I would highly suggest getting a trailer. All right. Now another suggestion for when this all hits is I would suggest putting your stuff. As much as I am loath to say it, I'm a fun my comic guy. I believe in the platform. I believe in pushing the platform every chance possible and every chance necessary. But I would suggest also putting stuff on Kickstarter. Kickstarter is a huge, huge community. And as long as you're not being fingered by some blue-haired land whale, you can stay on there. And it's only 30 days. You got a 30-day campaign, but in that amount of time, you got some pretty good curbside. They do some promo work over there. So I would suggest if you're not on Fund My Comic, I would definitely suggest Kickstarter, IGG, which you run into black balls and bans, shadow bans. You know, not being pushed on the main page, even though you're got big backer counts. And maybe that'll change. I don't know. But right now, they're adding a tip in, $9 tip to every purchase. You have to set it to 0 manually. Because if you get that, they get $9 out of you right off the top. And it goes into the campaign amount. And you get taxed on that. And so they don't even get taxed on the money that goes to them. So I really honestly do not suggest Indiegogo at this time, but if you got a third chance campaign or something like that, I wouldn't suggest that be your primary one. I still believe in Fund My Comic and Kickstarter as better options. But if you're going to run on Indiegogo, you got to understand the shadow bans are there. And maybe they won't shadow ban you. Maybe they will. We don't know what the criterion is. But if you go over there, you have to understand that you could face some censorship. And your backers are going to have to reset that tip to 0, or they're going to give them $9. And it's going to go on your total. And you're going to pay the taxes on it. This is a proven fact. I'm not being hyperbolic here. Anyway, so, all right, have your campaign on multiple websites. Okay. So that's the fourth, campaign on multiple websites. Okay. Now, fifth used to be go on all the shows that you can. But that model is going away pretty quickly. There's not really a lot of shows left to go on anymore. Launch streams, usually you'll get the most that you'll get off of a launch stream. Bancroft runs a hell of a launch stream. So if you want to go on Bancroft, be great. Any of the big guys, anybody with over 10, over 1K viewers would be good for a launch stream. Consistent click-through rates. The Crack Pack used to be really good on launch streams. You'd go to Bancroft, and then after then you would go on Jeremy's launch stream, and then the Crack Pack would back. They seem to be kind of coming back around. I don't know if they're doing launch streams anymore, but they used to be really good launch stream. I guess Mandy had the Ballers. I don't know if they ran launch streams on there. But that's about, there's just really aren't that many possibilities anymore. If you have your own channel, doing a launch stream on there, if you got a consistent audience, couldn't hurt you. But make sure you run a launch stream, and if you're going to have a closeout, make sure you emphasize your closeout. And that's when you're going to get your most backers. So, but the endless going on shows, going on this show, going on that show, going on that show, going on that show, that model's kind of going away because there just aren't that many shows anymore. Because people just... they got tired of the grind and they gave it up. It's a grind. I mean, I came in this afternoon and I already had the thumbnail made, but that's all I had. And I had to set it up in like 2 hours, which is why my numbers are down. But, so it can be a grind. Sometimes you're on, one man show like tonight. But, except for John, when John came in and screwed up everything. Anyway, love you, John. Mwah. Anyway, I'm glad his beard growing back in. He looks good with a beard. Anyway, so there you go. Let's review. First of all, have social media presence. Have a social media plan. Have a good trailer. And have a good launch stream and closeout stream. Okay, that's 4 right there. And fifth one, don't get into slap fights. Don't get any slap fights, okay? Now, I see this over and over again. My buddy, one of my favorite guys is Vonster. Okay, I love Vaughn. But Vaughn's been, he's going at the Ripper guys. And they're like saying, well, his comics must suck, and I'm like, his comics are really, really good. I wish you'd try it out, but you won't because he keeps taking shots at Ripper. And, and it's like, who you doing it on behalf of? I mean, it's crazy that so many people are throwing away possible audiences because they're trying to take part in this war between two gargantuan, kaiju. And it's not like you're going to earn any, loyalty from either one of them. I mean, it's not like you're going to earn kudos or you're going to earn brownie points, All right, see you. See you, Kate. Have a good day. Thanks for coming by. Later. But it's not like you're going to earn any brownie points. It's not like you're going to earn any kind of goodwill. All you're going to do is alienate part of the people that might have backed you, Monster MD is awesome book. Terror in the Trenches is an awesome book. Kataro Witch Hunter is an awesome book. And he's got a couple other ones in there. Assassin's Inc., I think it is. But he's got a whole group of people, backing Ripper to the tune of, 500,000 per. And you just pissed off a lot of them, for no reason. I mean, it just makes no sense. And it's not like the big guy, the big tuna is not going to turn on you at some point. He turns on everybody. He's paranoid. You might be his buddy today and might be having his back and might be carrying water for him. But then suddenly tomorrow he does a trash cast and you're front and center. And so many people have been blindsided by that. And they're like, oh, what did I do? What did I do? And then they find out themselves in the wilderness and the Ripper people won't talk to them anymore. The Iron Age people who are kind of aligned with Ripper. And, and it's like these big, massive fan bases. And you've ticked off a whole bunch of them. And it's like, well, what's the point? What's the point? Okay. It's not like his fans are going to translate to you. They never have. I mean, there's a group of people at the top, this group of CG kings who, have former mainstream, CVs, they used to work in the mainstream. And they're still pulling 50,000 and more, but they're the only ones that are, and they're not sharing their audiences. So why are you being loyal to them? You got to look out for yourself. You got to look out for your own business interest. And let's face it, the people over there back in Ripper, their money is green and it spends. The people back at CG, their money is green and it spends. And so why get involved with this thing? Why get involved? It makes no sense to you financially. It makes no sense as a businessman. So to ride this wave, you're going to need the biggest board possible, and the biggest board possible are backers. And if you don't have a board, you're not going to be able to surf. And so you got to keep your base as broad as possible. You know, you got to walk a fine line. You got to walk right down the middle, you know, and don't the only loyalty that you can really have is to your the friends that are on the same level as you, the people that support you, the people that give you encouragement, the people whose shows you can go on, you know, then cross-pollinate. And don't be fighting the battles of people who don't know you exist, or have no vested interest in you anyway. You know, I've been swatted like a bug by both of them. And, you know, I think Ripa did a better job than EVS did of swatting me, but I got clobbered by both of them, really. And at least I barely managed to avoid one of them. But it's just not worth it, you know? What's important is that you make enough money to keep going, not that some distant someone somewhere with a big name acknowledges your existence. What good is that to you? It's celebrity culture. Celebrity culture helps nobody but the celebrity. It doesn't. Did you see what happened? Did you see what happened during this last election? All the celebrities came out. Oh man, they came out and they just like one by one, you know, marched across that stage and made these Zoom videos and, you know, praising this one candidate. Didn't help her one bit. But they got paid. You see how this works? Celebrity culture doesn't benefit anybody but the celebrity. So stop trying to benefit people who don't know you exist. You know, stop trying to carry water for people who would swamp you, you know, rather than look at you, you know. I could be on Trash Cast tomorrow. He could be chewing me a new butthole and then have a whole bunch of people crawling up, you know, crawling up the hole that he made. You know, I mean, that could happen to me tomorrow. Or I could be ignored like so many other people, you know, or, you know, Ripa, I said one thing and Ripa took it wrong and wound up canceling my world and had a whole bunch of people plowing that field for weeks, going after my friends, going after anybody that knew me. And a lot of people walked away. You know, he didn't know. He doesn't remember me. It was Tuesday for him. You know, I'm, you know, I may buy a Ripaverse book, you know, out of curiosity. I don't know. That Hangman looks pretty good. I might, not Hangman, but Four Horsemen, it looks pretty good. I might take a look at it. I don't know. But all I do know is that he's never going to know my name. He's never going to give a shit. So I'm not carrying water for him. I'm not carrying water for the big guy. You know, these purity tests, they don't benefit anybody. If we're going to ride this wave, we can't be on somebody else's board. We got to be on our own board, okay? They're not helping anybody but themselves. And why should they? They're businessmen. They're not. You know, you can you look up to them, you know, give them super chat money if you want. And but they're never going to call you buddy or pal. You know, they may like a tweet that you put on, or, you know, if you like one of their tweets or respond to one of them, you know, they may respond. I don't know. But for the most part, you don't have a relationship with them. You know, it's not going to benefit you. They're not going to have you on your shows, and they don't have anybody on their shows anymore. that door's kind of closed. I mean, EVS the other day started letting people back on the shows, and he's like, "Oh, okay, come all future backstabbers." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, you know, I'm sure it's a lot of eyes. I'm sure he gives you a lot of eyes, but you know, I that sounds too much like a purity test. I didn't pass. I passed up. It's okay. So let's review. And all right. Way to ride the wave. Way to ride the wave. Okay. Get yourself a social media presence. Have a social media plan. And get yourself a good trailer. Okay. Get yourself multi platforms. You know, each one has their advantages, except for IGG, which is, you know, it's a crapshoot at this point. And fifth, don't get involved in other people's cat fights. If it doesn't bother you or effectively direct you or affect you in any way, shape, or form, why get involved? You know, there's people, their money spends, and these people's money spends. You know, take advantage. I mean, please take a note from the mainstream right now. They went way left. Told everybody else this wasn't built for you, looking for this modern audience. They ignored this whole big paying, you know, public over here. And just like pissed them all off and said, go away. You know, we don't need you. We're going to make this content for this narrow group of people. And then you know, told everybody else to screw off. And then, oh, it turns out that small group of people isn't enough to keep the lights on. The same way on social media. Okay. The broader the people that like you, the broader the group of people that, you know, you're in good with, are friends with you, the better off you are. So don't get involved in other people's conflicts if you can help it. Okay? Some people are going to involve you, but you don't have to be involved. You can just opt out. And I think the more people that are going to opt out, the more people that are going to walk away from this whole entire thing. Eventually, we're going to probably carve out our own matrix away from the battle that's going on over there for whatever reason, ego, you know, penis measuring. I don't know what the thing is at this point, but I think it's mostly ego. But the thing about it is if we're going to ride this wave, we can't be capsized by a bigger boat. So get out of their wake and find your own wave. And I think there's going to be enough of a wave coming in that it's going to carry all of us if we paddle hard enough, if we stay on the board. And so, you know, I don't know if this was meant for anybody tonight. I don't know if this is going to help anybody tonight. I don't know if this is going to get me canceled. It might possibly do that. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what causes somebody to be canceled these days? Some of the people I thought were true blue and would never leave the side have been, you know, kicked out of the circle. So I have no idea. I got no idea. I mean, if you go after Bancroft, all bets are off. You know, Bancroft's my man. Bancroft's my channel daddy, you know. So anybody that's good with Bancroft is good with me. Anybody that goes after Bancroft, you've got an enemy in me. Okay. I'm just saying that much. I'll fight on Bancroft's side any day. You know, Bancroft has helped me more than anybody. Come on my show. I've been on his, you know. And so if I pledge allegiance to anybody, it's be Bancroft. Okay. All right. that's good enough for tonight. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for Kate and Orlando for showing up and confusing the hell out of me, as always. The lovely lady. Sandy Black, who was here earlier, and Grim, who disagrees with me. He thinks we're headed for another Great Depression. So, I disagree, but no big deal. We can just disagree all we want. And JFL. So, hey, JFL. Oh, that's what he's talking about earlier. He was saying hello to JFL. Okay. No, Grim. That's something Grim said. JFL. I still don't know what that means. All right. Anyway, but thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you for the viewers that showed up. I think some of them were on X anyway. But that's been Cooper Telepathic Bunny Comics. Follow the White Rabbit, and we will see you next time. Remember, surf your own board. Bye, everybody.